Falcons Pulse, welcome back. Week 3 was a doozy. I don't think I got many picks right, but week 4, we're gonna get back. I think a few undefeated teams are gonna fall this week, along with a few teams with none. I think they'll end up with 1. So let's dive right in, and before that, don't forget to subscribe and like. But we're gonna go right into this one. So the first game we're gonna talk about here is the New Orleans Saints heading to Atlanta to play the Atlanta Falcons. And as a Falcons fan, this one's big. This one's massive as a 1-2 team. After our rough loss to the Chiefs, we need to bounce back, especially against divisional opponents. And we have 3 weeks straight of that. So, going into this one, we had a few questionable players. Caleb McGarry has been ruled out. But good news is Bijan Robinson, along with Matthew Judon, they'll be playing. So 2 key pieces on the offense and the defense. They'll be playing in this. On the Saints side, though, they're looking a little rough. So Eric McCoy, their starting center, is out on IR. Now, along with that, you have Alvin Kamara, who is questionable. Chris Olave, who is questionable. Cesar Ruiz, who has been ruled out. Along with Demario Davis, ruled out. So some key players on that team are not playing in this rivalry game. And that is what's going to push me over the edge. Definitely. I do think the Falcons can beat them healthy, both sides, but that's just not how the NFL goes. So the Falcons are going to win this one. Now, I'd like to give a score on it, and I think this one will be a fun one. I think it's going to be 23-20 victory for Atlanta. It comes down to the wire. I don't see it going any other way. There is a chance that we blow them out, right? Because the Falcons, them dirty birds, will get the Aints back to New Orleans. So Falcons will pick up the W in this one. Saints got to get a little bit more healthy. On to Cincinnati Bengals at Carolina Panthers. This one's going to be an interesting one as Cincinnati comes in 0-3. Who suspected that one? Well, the Panthers, my prediction was right. The Raiders, they didn't take care of business. And the Panthers with Andy Dalton look like they have some life. So I'm not sure that continues in this one. It might have been a heroic story for 1 week. I think the Bengals have a lot more to prove. The Panthers, they're a team that's going to need a lot of work going forward. So in this one, I am going to take the Bengals. A lot of that comes with the Panthers. They have a lot of questionable players. Also, in just key components like Deontay Johnson, he's questionable. Adam Thielen's out. So Xavier Legette, your option. Tommy Tremble. I just don't trust that going forward. And then their run game is it's nothing. Now against the Bengals defense that just got lit up by the Commanders, whoa, I didn't expect that one. I had the Bengals winning on that game, and they did not. So I think they need to bounce back in this one, and if they don't, man, there's a lot of questions surrounding that team. So this is a game there they have to prove it, and I think they're going to go in there and do that. So I have the Bengals winning 30-17 in Carolina. They're going to take care of some business. They do have some questionable players in the trenches, but this isn't the team to be worried so much about that. Just don't give Dalton too long, but I'm not too worried about it. So Bengals pick up the win in this one, and that's how that's going to go. Los Angeles Rams at Chicago Bears. An interesting one here. I think the Rams picked up a huge win last week because they're on IR and they go up against the 49ers and get a big win. Now, do I think that continues? I'm not too sure. Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, they always have great games against each other no matter who's playing on each side. The Bears, they come off of a rough loss against the Colts. Caleb Williams had moments of shining, but at the same time, that offense is just too rocky. I don't know really what's going on there. I think the moments will help them. They just need to come alive. Their defense is doing their job, and I think with Matthew Stafford being so limited on what they can do, I think the Bears' defense will hold up in this one. I just have to see a little bit more out of the Caleb Williams, and I think we will. So I'm going to go with the Bears in this one. And I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a 17-16 victory for the Bears, 1-point game. I think Caleb Williams, they hold on to it. They either go down and get the game-winning field goal, or in that fourth quarter, it's just a pretty boring quarter. It just seems to go that way sometimes. So Bears pick up a win here. Rams, you're still on IR. Don't get too upset with it. Over time, you'll get healthy and hopefully get a few more wins. What a game we have here. Minnesota Vikings on to Lambeau against the Green Bay Packers. I haven't had the Vikings at 3-0 at all. Did not see that coming. But the Packers, they also were convincing with Malik Willis last week against the Titans. So what's going to happen this week in a divisional matchup that this will shape the division pretty hard? I think the Vikings in this one, very favorable, just because of the possible questionable players will play for the Packers. I don't think Malik Willis is going to do what he did last week. He looked solid, but to keep that rolling with Malik, I just have to see that more consistently. And Vikings, they've showed 3 weeks in a row, and their defense is amazing. So I'm going to go Malik Willis is on that field. I just don't want Love being rushed back. If Love is rushed back, I don't think he's going to play to the performance he would normally at 100% health. So either way, with a defense like that, with the pass rush, I think the Vikings will go into Lambeau and win this one. The Packers also have Jair Alexander, who's questionable, so that's a big key part of their defense. Darnold, he's been doing his thing. Last week, I didn't go with him, and man, do I regret that one. Same with the Packers. But at the same time, do I bet against these Vikings right now? I'm not going to. So I think this one, the Vikings are going to go in. They're going to put some points on that board, and they're going to win this one 25. A little awkward score there. 2-17 on the Packers. And in Lambeau, it's going to be a one-score game regardless. Divisional matchup, I don't see it going another way, but Vikings win in Lambeau. Surprise, surprise. On to Houston Texans at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think this one's much of a question right now. The Jaguars haven't been convincing by any means, and I can't bet on them winning a game right now. I will say that the Texans, they did get trampled last week. I didn't expect that at all. Now they do have a couple key players out. Tank Dell, he's not going to be in there. Mixon's questionable. At the same time, the Jaguars, they have a few players as well. They have players like Foyce Olunakun on defense, Ingram. They're both ruled out. Devin Lloyd and Gabe Davis, they're questionable. So I'm not sure the Jaguars at full health could even compete against the Texans. And I'm not going to say they will. So I think the Houston Texans, I think they'll mop the floor on this one. This one's going to be like a 28-10 game. And Jaguars just have to prove something to me. Maybe this is the game. I don't see it. Steelers at Indianapolis Colts. This one right here, I think it's going to be a little bit of a snooze fest. Steelers, they seem to suck any energy out of an offense and just put it to sleep. And that's Pittsburgh football, baby. They did against the Falcons. They've done it each week afterwards. Now they're 3-0. And now they play a Colts team that has a shoddy offense. One moment, Anthony Richardson looks like he's the QB of the future, and he might be the face of the league. And then he looks like he shouldn't be in the league by the next throw. So you can't do that against a team like Pittsburgh. And I think in this one, the Steelers are going to pick up another win, and they're going to be 4-0 on the season. The Colts, just the offense is too shoddy for me. They're missing Kenny Moore on defense. That's a big piece right there in the secondary. It lets Pickens kind of move around a little bit more than he should. I think Fields will get in the ball a little bit on this one since Warren's out. So Steelers are going to win this one in a 16-10 victory in Indianapolis. Hopefully Anthony Richardson looks better. But for now, Justin Fields, he's going to keep that starting job because they're going to be 4-0 after this one. Denver Broncos at New Jersey Jets. And man, did Rodgers look good last week. But Bo Nix also impressed against a undefeated Bucs team. So this one I think will be pretty interesting. I do have the Jets winning this one. Aaron Rodgers, man, he just impressive on Thursday Night Football on a short week against the Patriots defense that I think is very underrated, and he just took them apart. So this Broncos defense, I don't think is much better. Surtain is a big piece, but they lost Singleton, and that's one of their leading linebackers. And without him, I think the Jets will have a field day. And I think they're going to put up a lot of points here in this one. Rodgers, he's gonna keep it rolling and looks like his old self. I mean, 5 years younger. That's what I thought he was on Thursday last week. So I think he can keep doing it if he can. So in the Broncos, Bo Nix, he hasn't proven it to me yet. He did well against the Bucs last week, but the Bucs, they were missing some key players on that defense, and they still are this week, which will hurt them. And Baker, he didn't perform on that offensive side, so the defense was out there more than it should have been, so they were exhausted. So as long as the Jets can control the clock a little bit more, I'm not sure Bo Nix against that defense that was really good last year, and it's going to mold more into this year, into the same thing, is going to impress too much. So I have the Jets winning this one 35-27. Broncos will get some points on the board, and I think the Jets, they're just going to put a lot of points out there as well. So A-Rod is back, baby. Philadelphia Eagles at Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this one will be a fun one, I believe. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming into this one a little banged up. Their defense is pretty much questionable or out. Winfield out. Vita Vea, big talent there. He's questionable. Cansey, he's out. And man, I just don't know if they'll be able to stop Jalen Hurts without him after what the Broncos just did to him at home as well. So I think the Eagles also win this one. They have a couple big questionable players too. Lane Johnson, he's questionable. And then you have Devonta Smith, who's out, and A.J. Brown, who's questionable. So even without both receivers, I think Saquon is enough for the Eagles to win this one. And that's just saying because the Buccaneers defense is so banged up. If that's a healthy Bucs defense, this is a different story. But right now, I'm playing Vita's out. I know he's questionable, but when they're questionable, I don't usually plan for them to play unless I see another report saying it's likely. So in this one, I have the Eagles winning 20-13. It's not as close as you'd like, but the Buccaneers offense looked rough last week. The Eagles defense, I think they'll get better as they go. If Baker does what he did last week, and I just don't see the Bucs putting up much of a fight in this one. It might be higher scoring than I'm projecting, but Eagles win in Tampa Bay. Buccaneers, just like the Saints earlier, need to get healthy because they have a matchup against the Falcons on Thursday night right after this too. Washington Commanders at Arizona Cardinals, and I think this has the potential to be the game of the week. The Washington Commanders had an impressive win in Cincinnati. I didn't expect it. I don't think a lot of people did, but Jaden Daniels stood out. He really commanded that offense and put it to life. So if he can continue that, I mean, they're going to be a threat on that offense. On the flip side of the ball, they have a lot of work. That defense is allowing a lot of points. Their secondary is just rough. And going up against a Cardinals team like this, you got Marvin Harrison, you got Kyler Murray, James Conner, Trey McBride is out. But even with McBride out, the Cardinals are a threat. So I think this one's going to be a high-scoring game. And I do have the Commanders winning 3-1. Surprise, surprise again. But in this one, I have it 35-31 in a showout. Now, this could be either way. This is a tough one to pick. But I do have Jaden Daniels. If he can continue what he did on Monday, I think he'll edge out on this one and pick up a big victory on the road in Arizona. So we'll see. Jaden Daniels, Kyler Murray, they're going to light it up Sunday. New England Patriots at San Francisco 49ers. And this one, oh man, I would really like to see an upset once again after what the 49ers' pathetic effort in the fourth quarter against the Los Angeles Rams last weekend. Do I think they'll do it again? Unfortunately for the Patriots, I think the 49ers will win this one, but that's mostly because the Patriots are still trotting out game manager Brissett. Why not give Drake May a real opportunity, a real game plan to show, now that we're in week 4, that he can be the QB they need for the future? Doesn't mean they're going to win all their games, but he's going to show signs, and he needs to get that experience on the field to really get the Patriots to come to life. That defense is stranded out there. Jacoby Brissett is having them trot out after 3 plays every time. I mean, he does not convert on 3rd and long, 3rd and short. They're just running the football. And I mean, hopefully they'll get it with Stevenson, but you can't rely on that all the time. And it's not always 3rd and short. So I have the Niners winning this one. They have Kittle back. I think they need to rely on Jordan Mason a lot more. In that fourth quarter, they did not give Mason enough touches again with managing the clock, and I think that's the biggest flaw in Kyle Shenanigans. I almost said. Well, pretty much that's what he is. But Shanahan, he always comes up with a way of blowing leads, and he's just notorious for them. So they just need to rely on Jordan Mason a little bit more, especially if they have a lead in the second half. They don't let Brissett do what Matt Stafford did. Do I see Brissett doing it? No, but maybe at halftime, May comes in. I'm ready to see May. I think Patriots fans will agree that we need to see Drake May, and that Brissett's just not in the right situation, nor does he play good enough. So 49ers, I'm going to have them win this one 28-14. It's not going to be close as long as Brissett's in the game. Kansas City Chiefs at Los Angeles Chargers. And man, this one I just don't see going the Chargers' way. The Chargers, they have both tackles questionable. Herbert's questionable. Derwin James is suspended this game. Don't get me into that one. I don't know if that even was the right call to suspend him. The Chargers, their run game's not going to win them this. I watched Bijan Robinson get bagged last week. And Bijan Robinson's a top 5 back easily in the league. Against the Chiefs team, I think Harbaugh, he's going to have to come up with a different plan. And without Herbert, you're not going to be able to do it. So the Chiefs, they're going to trot on to a 4-0 start. It's going to be in Chiefs fashion. I think they'll do what Mahomes will normally do. I don't think it's going to be anything too impressive. Without Derwin on the defense, Bosa's out. I mean, he shouldn't have much of an issue getting that team down there, putting up some points. And honestly, I wish the Chargers were healthier in this game and had Derwin, but with all those questions, Chiefs are going to win this one, and it's just not going to be that close. So I'm going to go the Chiefs are going to win 28-10 in Los Angeles. It's going to look impressive, but Chargers, questionable, and the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Cleveland Browns at the Las Vegas Raiders. Man, the battle of the IR game, part 2 this week. Last week we had the Rams, 49ers. This week we have the Browns and the Raiders. And unfortunately, Devontae Adams, Max Crosby for the Raiders, out. It's a huge, huge hit. 2 big pieces gone. Along with that, the Browns, both tackles are out. And, I mean, the offensive line is not healthy. The judgment on Watson's been a little much, no matter what off-field things he has. He hasn't looked great, but, I mean, he doesn't have an offensive line either. They've been getting shredded, so either or, you can give or take on that. But in this one, it's hard to tell. The Raiders just let the Panthers walk all over them. And then the Cleveland Browns, they just haven't looked impressive at all. So it's really a coin flip on this one. I'm going to take the Browns over the Raiders. As the Raiders, they lost to the Panthers. It's hard to bounce back right away from that, especially when 2 of your top players on both sides of the ball are just out. and the Browns, they're able to squeak them out. So in this one, the Browns, I have them winning 16-13 against Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas. This could go either way. Sunday Night Football. Buffalo Bills at Baltimore Ravens, and what a thriller we'll have in this one. I'm stoked to see Josh Allen against Lamar Jackson. What a Sunday Night Football game, by the way. Perfect. The Bills are red hot. They just torched Jacksonville, made them look like the worst team in the league. And the Ravens, they came off of a big win in Dallas, though the fourth quarter once again was questionable. That's 2 weeks in a row now. They almost blew it. They didn't, so that's the big part. Ravens being at home, I think will help them in this one. It's Buffalo, as we know, with their home games. Their crowd is pretty wild. But the Bills are red hot. Both sides don't have too many injuries. And I think this one's going to be a fun one. So we're going to go with Buffalo on this one. And I'm going to take them in a 30-28 game. And you just got to ride with the hot team. And the Ravens might go up early. It might look real impressive. But will they blow it again? Because the Cowboys, they almost did it to them, and they were 28-6. The Raiders did it previously, 26-13. I really just don't trust the Ravens to hold the lead, so I could see them giving the game away, having complete control for the most part, and then Josh Allen in the fourth quarter has a game-winning drive, 30-28 in Baltimore. Tennessee Titans at Miami Dolphins, everyone's favorite Monday Night Football game. Good news is we have two. So the Titans and the Dolphins both are having very lackluster seasons. Obviously, the Dolphins don't have Tua, and the Titans have Will Levis. That's the story there. I've had the Titans high because of their defense, but their defense can't keep up when Will Levis gives the game away every week. The Dolphins, they just aren't going to do anything without a quarterback. Tyler Huntley might start, depending on Skylar Thompson, but I'm not sure that's going to put them over the edge to do much more than what they have done in the last couple weeks. The Titans have to win at some point, so in this one, I'm going to take the Titans. The Dolphins, they should maybe look okay. I'm just not sure what we're going to look at quarterback-wise there. At least with the Titans, I know what I'm getting. The Dolphins will get some free points because Will Levis loves to give those away. Loves to score them for either side of the ball. So in this one, I'm going to take the Titans. It's going to be a 21. Let's go. Let's go 21-17 ball game. They got to win at some point. I don't see any team going winless. And this is just the right matchup for the Titans to come in and get a win. So, sorry, Dolphins fans. You need to. On to the second Monday Night Football game. Seattle Seahawks at Detroit Lions. What a much better lineup for Monday Night Football here. And the undefeated Seahawks, they've been able to squeeze it out and win 3 straight games. Now head to Detroit against a tough Lions team. Who just got a good win over the Cardinals. And I think they're just going to get better as the season goes. Seattle, they have a lot of questionable players on defense, which is not what you want when they play Gibbs, Montgomery. The run defense has been a little shoddy. And I think they're just going to get ran all over on as long as the Lions follow that game plan and don't let Jared Goff become Jared Goof. It's always the killer. So I really do think the Lions will hold themselves in this one, but it's gonna be enjoyable to watch. I think both teams are gonna score plenty of points, and ultimately the Lions will win 27-24, defeating the Seahawks, giving them the first loss of the season. Just too many questions on the defensive side for Seattle. The Lions, we know what we're getting, and as long as they lean more into Gibbs and give Montgomery the looks he needs as well, I think they should win this one, and they'll be able to hold it over. So those are my predictions for week 4 of the NFL season. Hopefully it doesn't go as bad as last week, where I just missed almost every pick. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you disagree with any of my picks, if you think I'm missing something crucial in a certain game, and I think we'll have another fun week of NFL. Unpredictable, right? So just remember, hit that subscribe button and don't forget the like because we have more content like this on the way. And hey, let's have a good Sunday, Monday.